We are back with Lachelle Yates with the Better Business Bureau, taking your questions so that you can keep your hard-earned cash actually in your pocket. The number to text is right there at the bottom, 336-379-5775. All right, this person says, what is the most common coronavirus scam?
Woo, well, there's lots to choose from. I wouldn't say that one is more popular or prevalent than the other. One that is going around right now is the COVID clinical test scam. And you could get a call, an email, or a text from somebody who says, hey, you've been picked to be part of this COVID trial and we'll pay you. Which of course is how they're hoping to lure us in. But if you get one of these emails or texts, do not click on the link. That's what they want you to do. And it's either going to download malware onto your device, or it's going to take you to a website that looks really legitimate, and they're going to ask you for personal information. And, you know, at that point, you may have been lulled into thinking that this is a real trial and they really need your social security number. They do not.
All right, this person is asking, can the BBB tell me if a contractor is worth working with or not?
So we don't give personal recommendations, but what we do is accredit businesses. And that means we have looked at do they need a license? Do they have it? Does the owner have a criminal background? Do they have any unopened or unanswered complaints? Do they have any investigations? And if all of that passes, then we accredit the business. And that also means that they have pledged to do business honestly, ethically, transparently. And the other great thing about working with an accredited business is that if something does go wrong, the contractor has to respond to the complaint. If you're working with a non-accredited business and you file a complaint, sometimes they will go ahead and answer because they know people are looking at their BBB letter grade. But they don't have to, where an accredited business absolutely has to respond to the complaint, and then we can kind of help mediate what's going on. The other thing to look for besides the accredited business seal is look to see what the reviews are and look to see what complaints are, as well as their letter grade. And if you kind of weigh all of those things yourself, then you can determine which contractors you want to work with. But also remember, get estimates from 3 different contractors. That's the best way to protect yourself too.
All right, and let's go along with that line. So if you get an estimate from 3 different contractors, whether that's roofing, to do your kitchen, whether that's to repair something in your bathroom, whatever it happens to be, you get these estimates. Then what should happen? Because we get, calls and emails all the time about people saying they never came back to finish the work.
Well, so you never pay before the work is completely done. I don't care if they say, we'll be back in the morning and they want you to pay the rest. Never pay the final penny until you're absolutely pleased with the work. That is a big rule. But also, to think about too, sort of touched on this, if you get those 3 estimates, you pick your contractor, they always want money down. BBB recommends about 10. And I know sometimes that can be, some contractors are going to want a little more than that, depending on what the field is, but that's always good rule of thumb. And then you want to get everything in writing and signed so that you know exactly what they're going to be doing and exactly how much it's going to cost you.
All right, this person said, I had a problem with a company, but they quickly got back their A+ rating. So what is required of a company to have an A+ rating?
So that's a little complicated. It's an algorithm that takes into account complaints, and it's whether it's opened or resolved or unresolved, whether and how long it took them to respond to the complaint. But it could also be factoring into their grade, could be a government action, could be an ad review that they didn't respond to, or an investigation. And it's also weighted to, if the business responded to the complaint, you have the opportunity to respond back and say, do I accept or not accept their explanation? And depending on, what the consumer says, if they say, yes, I accept, that's weighted a little differently than, no, I'm still not happy, and responds back. And then the business has a chance to respond back again. So it's an algorithm, and there's a lot of little working parts that go into a letter grade.
Mm-hmm. Is it something where if people were wanting to ask more questions, could they call and talk to someone at the BBB about it instead of just looking online?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we'd love to take phone calls. We also have online chat at bbb.org, but our phone number is 336 852-4240.
All right, we'll put that on our website as well, because sometimes, you know, texting and also looking at the complaint online doesn't tell you everything maybe that you need to know. The investigator may know a little bit more about it. Someone said, I got scammed looking for an online job. How do I find out if an online job is legit?
So there are very few companies that exist only online. And that you can't actually call the company, that all you have is that job listing. So the best way to protect yourself, because these scammers, they are good. You know, in the past, it used to be that they'd approach you or you'd contact them, you do everything on Google Hangout, and then they'd send you paperwork and say you're hired. They've stopped doing that. And now they're actually scheduling real phone calls and having people go through real steps to get a job. So they're making it a little bit harder. But go to, if it's Amazon, let's say, because Amazon is actually one that gets spoofed a lot by scammers. Go to Amazon's website and see what positions they're hiring for, or call the company. If you don't see anything on the website, but it sounds like a great job, call the company and find out, do you really have that position open? Some red flags that it's not a real job. Unfortunately, a lot of them are work from home. They'll say something like, we're building a business near you. We're going to open an office near you. And so we're hiring people. They also want tons. They're also going to pay you tons of money. That's also a red flag.
Okay, good things to know. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you sharing your expertise there. And of course, if you missed any of Lachelle's recommendations there, we're going to have them for you in the Two Wants to Know section of our website after the show.